Hello and welcome to Embodied by Grace. I am Melissa Rose, and if you're new here, I want to welcome you to the podcast. If you are not new, welcome back. You know, this is a place where we talk all things faith, wellness, and life. And on the life note, I will say I am extra excited to be back this week because since the last time I filmed or recorded this podcast, I have been so sick. You guys, I've been so sick. This is the first day that I'm actually feeling like a human again. So praise God for that. I was like, I'm going to get ready. I took a shower. It was a whole thing. So I'm so happy to be back. And something I wanted to talk about on today's episode, you know, it really hit home for me over this week. Not really doing a whole lot, canceling all of my plans, literally doing the bare minimum, laying on the couch, watching a lot of TV, scrolling a lot more than I normally do, is this idea of consumption versus creation. And it's something that I've wanted to talk about since I started this podcast because it's a big reason why I even decided to start it in the first place. And it's a topic that I've seen. I actually watched a few videos on it this week from other YouTubers. And I was like, you know what? I just feel so called to talk about this and share this message. So consumption, right? We all know that we live in a consumerism society. We are consuming all day, every day. So whether that is food, I've talked about this in another episode, that we're just constantly consuming food. We don't give our digestive system a break. We are constantly consuming information, right? I mean, we have this device in our possession at all times where we can constantly be learning. We can look things up. We can see what's going on in the world. In some ways, it's a great thing. In others, you know, maybe not so much. I know that I feel very overwhelmed a lot of the times, especially when I'm in that scrolling state, when I'm really paying attention to the news or what's going on, or if I'm just taking in too much information, it's like my brain can't handle it. So maybe you relate, maybe you know what I'm talking about, right? So, you know, consumption, you know, overthinking, that's consumption, overanalyzing. We are just constantly inputting all day, every day. And I believe this is a big reason why so many of us, myself included, struggle with anxiety or overwhelm or depression. A lot of those mental health conditions, I do believe, you know, are correlated with the society that we live in because we are always consuming. So I want to share that I had a dream to start this YouTube channel, I would say about 5 years ago. And granted, at that time, I was in the self-help space. I was in the new age world. I always say on every episode, if you haven't listened to my full testimony, go ahead and watch that. It's posted on YouTube. It's on the podcast. But I was in that world of self-help and self-development, and I've always wanted to start a YouTube channel. I believe God sort of helped me evolve where this was the perfect time that I'm doing it for him, for his kingdom, not just myself. So I guess that's a whole other topic there, but I have wanted to do this for a very long time. And even when I was in that world of self-help, I was creating, I was writing, I was putting things out into the world. But I was still consuming a lot more than I was creating. I have always been a consumer much more than a creator. And this is the first time in my life, starting last month in June when I started this podcast, that I have actually been creating more than consuming. And I will tell you that it is life-changing. It has just shifted so many things for me. I can't even really put it into words, but when we start creating and putting things out into the world, things of value, you know, with the intention of helping others usually, and we stop this cycle of just taking in, it's just amazing what happens in our lives. That shift from giving to giving, from just being a taker, I guess. And that's how I would describe myself. I was just taking, and I wasn't really giving back at least in the ways that I believe God created me for. So I wanted to share a couple ways, how I made this shift, but more importantly, how you can make this shift. Because maybe you're sitting here right now, and yes, you are consuming my content, and I'm grateful for that. I still consume. I still learn from other people. I still watch other YouTubes, and I listen to other podcasts, but I've created a balance with that. So I want to touch on that. But I want to help you make this shift from just consumer to a consumer and a creator. Maybe that's a better way to phrase it. So the first thing I'm going to say is you need to find your why. What is your reason for wanting to create something or be a creator? And then you have to just decide that you're going to do that you're going to be that. For me, my why had to be more than myself. So even when I was in the self-help space and I was coaching and doing those things, I still had a why that was greater than myself. I wanted to help other people. If I'm being honest, was there still some ego? Was there some selfishness in that? Absolutely. I wanted to be, I don't want to say famous. I wanted to be well known. I wanted to be seen as an expert. I wanted to be seen as, the person that had all the answers, which now obviously that has completely shifted. But I still had a why that included something bigger than myself. But now, having God involved in the picture after this coming back to Jesus revolution, I will say my why now is as great as it could be. And that is to spread the message, to spread the gospel, to share with people that we can't do it all on our own, that we need God's help and guidance. So that is the why. The why is to further the kingdom. The why is to do God's work in the world. And for me, that's the biggest why that there is. So on days when I feel like I can't do this, I'm not good enough, only 3 people watched my video, whatever it is, I remember that why, and it keeps me grounded. It keeps me on the path. So finding your why, and that might take a little time, that might take a little soul searching, a little prayer, but finding that why is really what's going to keep you sort of glued to this mission. And then, like I said, you have to just decide. You have to just decide, I'm going to do this. For me, it was a clear date. It was, I'm going to launch my YouTube channel on my 1-year Jesus anniversary. And I had months to prepare for that. I knew it was coming. And even though I had so much time to prepare, in the week and the days leading up, I was still like, am I really going to do this? Like, I'm not ready. Oh my goodness, I'm not ready. And that's the thing that the enemy, that our society likes to tell us, is that we're not ready. And we're always going to feel like, I need to do something else. I need to prepare more. I need to take another course. I need to learn how to speak. I need to learn how to, edit and do social media. You don't have to do any of that. You are already ready right now. I promise you. It's a lie that you need to do more and prepare more. I was in that stage of getting ready to be ready for years and years and years. And all it did was fuel my consumerism, my consumption, because I bought more courses. I read more books. I consumed other people's content. And again, yes, there is a place for learning and there is a place for consuming. But if we let that be our crutch, then we're never going to create anything. So you are ready right now. Don't let that lie fool you. All right. So step 1, find your why and decide. Number 2, you have to make the time. Okay. And again, these are not groundbreaking, earth-shattering revelations that I'm telling you. This information is already out there. Okay. But I feel so called to, if you found me, if you landed on this video, this is a message that you need to hear. I believe that. You need to make the time and schedule it to create every day. It needs to become a habit. It needs to become something that like we brush our teeth every day, like we have our routines every day. It has to be something where you're like, every day I'm going to create something just for the sake of creating. So it could be you write a paragraph every day. You write a sentence every day. Maybe you're trying to, get into social media. So you're like, I'm going to create one graphic every day. I'm going to create one post every day. Even if I don't do anything with it, I'm just going to create it. Maybe you're an artist, maybe you're a musician. It doesn't matter what it is. Finding your thing that you love to do and creating just for the sake of creating. So what I did is, even before I started this channel, in the months leading up to it, I was like, okay, I have to get into the routine and the habit of being a creator. So what does that look like? That means every day I'm going to post on social media. So I created an Instagram and a TikTok. I had been off social media for a while. And I was like, I'm just going to create a post every day. And so I started on Instagram. I was like, I'm just going to create a Bible verse every day. And I'm still doing that. I still share daily verses over on Instagram and TikTok. But that got me into the routine, into the habit of being a creator. And I scheduled that every morning. So after I did my morning routine, that was like the next thing I did. Every morning, I made sure that I was creating. Another thing, I kind of touched on this, but everything's already saturated, okay? And that was something that kept me from creating for a long time. It was like I had this idea that everyone's already doing this. Someone already has a channel about faith or wellness. Someone's already posting Bible verses. Like I for so long tried to find that thing that no one else was doing, that I was going to be totally special and totally unique. And maybe that was still some ego in there too. Like I wanted to be so different. And finally, I just surrendered to, what is God calling me to do? What is God calling me to share and to teach? And I realized, there's already people doing that. There are already so many videos on YouTube about creating and not consuming. This isn't a new topic. This isn't new information, but the way that I am presenting it, or maybe the little things that I add, or God's putting me in front of different people, it doesn't matter. Just do it anyway. Every industry already has people doing what you're doing, but don't let that keep you from creating. All right. Your people will find you. I promise. 1 Peter 4 verse 10 says, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. So as always, I will put these verses in the show notes. 1 Peter 4 verse 10, using whatever gift you have to serve others. God gives us all gifts. We might think that, someone else has the same gift as I do, or again, someone else is already doing this. It doesn't matter. You are unique in the way that you are going to present and share your gift with the world. So when people ask me, how do you know what your gift is? What do you like to do? What do you feel like maybe you're good at naturally, or what do you feel like you want to share? It really, I think, isn't as complicated as we make it, but we get in our heads and we overcomplicate things and we overanalyze. Just go back to what you love to do and go from there. So that's step 2. Make the time and do it every day. Step 3, it expands on that. Now this time, you're not only just creating and you're making the time, but now you're putting it out into the world. And this is scary. At least it was for me. We are meant to share. We are meant to give. We are meant to give back. We are meant to shine our light. All right. Matthew 5:16 says, in the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So this also ties back to your why, right? So for me, my why is furthering the kingdom, sharing the gospel, sharing the message of God, that, it's more than just a religion, it's a relationship, all of these things. If I didn't share that, if I didn't put myself out there on social media, on YouTube, on my podcast, who then am I really helping, right? Who am I sharing it with? If I just keep it all in my head, that's great that I know that for myself, but we're not meant to just keep things to ourselves. We are meant to share. So putting it out into the world, it's a scary step, but once you start doing it and it becomes a habit, it really, I don't want to say it gets easier. It just becomes something that you're like, okay, I'm going to decide to do this. It goes back again to step one, is deciding, just deciding you're going to put it out there. No matter how many people see it, no matter, how many people might, from your real life see it, and maybe you're worried about their reactions, right? It doesn't matter. You have to go back to your why, and your why is bigger than all of that, right? You're going to get haters. Maybe the second video that I put out on YouTube, I had my first hate comment before I had my first nice positive comment. And yeah, is that hard? Sure. But again, my why is bigger than that. So that why can just keep you focused even when other things really try to derail you. The other thing with this is, remember that there's going to be people who are further along in the journey and also people that are not as far as you. So, if I look at some of my favorite creators and I look at their perfectly edited videos and they have the graphics and they have all, like, their videos are perfect. And I look at mine and I'm like, I don't know how to do all that yet. And I don't really care about editing. I just want it to be real, authentic. I'm going to set up my phone and push play. If I were to compare myself to those people who have been doing this for years, I would get really discouraged. And I'd be like, my videos suck. No one's going to watch them. There's no point anyways. Well, guess what? Those people also started somewhere. They probably started where I'm at or where you're at. So we can't compare ourselves to people that have been doing what we want to do for a long, long time, right? And the last thing I'm going to say on this topic here is, what if your favorite creator or your favorite artist just decided to keep their creations in their head, right? The writer of your favorite song or your favorite YouTuber, right? What if they just, had this great idea or this great lyric or whatever, and they're like, I'm just going to keep this to myself. And you never got to experience it. You never got to learn from it. You never got to feel from it, right? So we have to think of ourselves the same way. We are all artists in our own right. We are all creators in our own right. So decide, make the time, and put it out into the world. The world needs your gift. Number 4, set boundaries with your own consumption. So this gets easier as you start creating. So I feel like at this point I have a pretty good balance of that. I still consume, of course, but I create more than I consume now. And, part of it was I had to set my own boundaries around that. So back when I was getting ready and I was trying to learn from everybody and I was trying to see what all these other YouTubers and TikTokers were doing, I was scrolling a lot. I was watching a lot of content. I was watching a lot of videos. And I had to sort of make this switch in my brain, but I had to make it tangible. And I told myself I was only going to consume one YouTube video per day or one podcast per day. Instead of taking a walk and listening to 2 podcasts, or then I'm driving and I listen to another podcast, or I scroll for an hour at night, I'm like, okay, I can do one of those things. I can listen to one thing, and the other time I'm going to spend prepping my own content, creating my own ideas, being in prayer and meditating on what God wants me to share. So I'm much more productive with my time. In terms of scrolling, I think that's the biggest place where we all get sort of, we go down the rabbit hole of our phones. I made a schedule where I'm going to post in the morning. Yes, I do a little scrolling. I used to then check constantly of like, okay, who liked it? Or is it getting traction? Or are people watching my videos? And that just drove me crazy for a couple weeks. I was like, I can't do that. I can't care about how many likes I get, because now I'm just right back to where I was a couple years ago, and the ego just really creeps in, right? The ego really creeps in. So I had to just say, I'm going to post in the morning and I'm not going to check my phone until lunchtime. At lunchtime, I check my phone. If I have any messages or comments, I respond. maybe do a little bit of scrolling, but then I put my phone again away until nighttime. And then I maybe post again at night. Sometimes I post at night, sometimes I don't. And then again, check comments, do a little bit of scrolling. And that's sort of my routine for being on my phone. And that might sound really crazy to just check social media at 3 different times. But for me, that's what worked. Otherwise, I was just constantly checking, and it really made me just unproductive, and it took me out of creator mode. So find what works for you. Maybe it's more frequent than that. That's okay. But I do recommend setting a boundary on how much you're going to consume, because there is a balance there. And I find that the more we create, the less we will consume, and vice versa. So find your own balance with that. Okay. All right. And number 5. All right. Last one. Don't give up. Again, this is not groundbreaking. This is not earth-shattering, but I'm here to remind you, don't give up, especially in the beginning when you start to put your stuff into the world, you start to create, and you don't get very many likes or views, or 10 people watch your video. It can be discouraging. I think I had this very unrealistic expectation that I would post my first YouTube video and I would go viral and I would get monetized in a week, because I watched people's videos that they would say, I got monetized in 2 weeks, I got monetized in a month, or whatever it is. And I sort of had that expectation. So don't have expectations. That doesn't mean don't have goals, right? But just let it unfold and have fun with the process, right? This goes back to doing what you love to do, because you can't do it for outside validation. It has to be something that fuels you and that fills your soul just by doing it. That even if you put it out there and only 2 people saw it, that you would still say, you know what, I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing, and that's okay, And that's hard sometimes, because I sometimes get caught up in, I put something out there and I'm like, wow, I really thought that this would take off. Or I really thought maybe this would be the video that, made me go viral. It's not about that. And going back to your why, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than views. It's bigger than clicks. Your why has to be bigger than that. So yeah, I go back to that and I say, God, I know that you are putting me in front of the right people. I know that this is unfolding in your time, not my own timeline. So there's a big trust element there. And it's also just, like I said, trusting the process and staying the course, staying connected to the why. I think if a lot of us go viral or reach all of our goals, whatever they are, in the time frame we want, we would miss a lot of the lessons along the way. We would miss a lot of the growth that happens in that period when nothing seems to be happening. So embrace every chapter of your creator journey. I look back to of my time right before I started creating, and I was like, wow, that was a beautiful time when I was preparing, and I was, just really, really just dialed in and connected with God. Now I still am, but it looks differently. And maybe a year from now, when I do have more than 70 followers or whatever I have right now, I'm going to look back and say, wow, I was just starting out, and that was just such a cool time in life. So don't rush the chapters. Don't rush the season that you're in. Just have fun with it and stay connected to that why. Galatians 6 verse 9 says, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. So again, I'll put that in the show notes, but don't give up. The harvest is coming, and the harvest might be different than what we think it's going to be or what we want it to be. So just be open to the blessings that God has for you, and know that his blessings are always going to be better than what you want for yourself. And sometimes that can be a hard pill to swallow. I understand that, but just trust, right? So one thing I have here on my notes, I heard this quote recently, and I thought it fit so perfectly, that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So I look back to, and I'm like, wow, I wish I would have started this channel 5 years ago. I wish I would have found Jesus 10 years ago. whatever it might be. No, you are on your perfect path. Don't worry about that. The next best time to do anything is right now. So don't miss this opportunity and 5 years from now say, wow, I wish I would have started 5 years ago, right? So just remember that. The second best time is right now. So to recap, number 1, you are going to find your why and decide to be a creator. Number 2, you're going to schedule the time and you are going to create every day without fail, even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, set aside time every day to be a creator. Number 3, you're going to share your creation. Maybe you share it with a friend. Maybe you put it online. It doesn't matter, but share your creations. Don't be afraid to shine your light. Number 4, you're going to set boundaries around consumption, and you might have to adjust those boundaries as time goes on, right? And number 5, don't give up. Don't give up. And don't give up. Don't give up. Colossians 3 verse 23 says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. So whatever you decide to do it for God. Do it for a greater purpose. You're not just doing it for yourself. You're doing it for others. Whatever you do it wholeheartedly and have fun with it. Have fun with it. We get so serious about life, and I know I definitely have, but we are supposed to enjoy what we're doing. We're supposed to enjoy this journey that we're on. So whatever you do, have fun with it. Your mission might be very, very important, like I believe mine is, but have fun with it and trust the process, trust God, and remember that He created you to be a creator. He prepared work that only you can do. Even if someone else is doing something similarly, you can only do it this way because God created you to do so. So that is what I have for you today, my friend. Go out there, do it, shine your light, create, have fun, and maybe share this message with someone else because we are all creators and sometimes we just need that little nudge. So as always, like I say, follow, subscribe, share all the good things. You can connect with me on Instagram and TikTok, that's where I share daily Bible verses. But here on YouTube, on the podcast, this is where we go deep. So join me next week, every week. Once again, just thank you. Get out there and shine your light.